Who you think you messing with? I'm holding my head like a Psyduck. Lantern, how I light 'em up. Flows on hydro pump. Trainers hating, line 'em up. I do this shit so effortless. I'm a alligator. How I eat you guys for lunch. Really? Fire types getting slow.
Hey, what up, everybody? So I've seen a lot of people making videos about the new set Burning Shadows and whatever new decks and cards that they're gonna look forward to. So I thought I'd make my own video. I know that like every other Tapu is already out, and kind of the one I've been looking forward to the most is just Tapu Fini, just because it's water, and I feel like, you know, water, even though we got a lot of stuff in the last set, we still are lacking something to make our type better. So I actually didn't really research this too much beforehand, but now that I'm looking at it, Tapu Fini can actually be a pretty big threat. It might not be a card that can be it's going to be popular, that can be used in any deck, but I think it's going to have some pretty good potential with certain Pokemon. So let's go over what it does. Okay, so the first attack is Aqua Ring for 20. You switch with one of your bench Pokemon. It's not that great. I think that's there because they want you to be able to retreat for free, but they didn't want to actually give you retreat cost, like a free retreat cost, because none of the other Tapus have a free retreat cost. So, and the reason why I think of that, I'll tell you why with the second attack. Discard for 3 energy, 2 water, and 1 colorless. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 120 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So it's basically Golduck that can attack anyone. So the thing with this though is that it needs 3 energy, and so since it needs 3 energy and you're going to be discarding 2, that means it's going to take a turn, like a stall turn, to kind of set up again. So I think that's the reason why they want you to kind of be able to retreat it into something else, and then I guess let that take the damage. And all right, let's just look at the third attack, and basically it lets you shuffle the active Pokemon, all their energy, all the evolutions, whatever, into your opponent's deck, as long as your opponent has a bench Pokemon. So that would work really great with like Lysander or Guzma, which is the one that's coming up. And if your opponent has something big on their bench, something that has a lot of energy, you can just say, hey, you know what, I don't want to deal with that. So let's get rid of that. Let's use our GX attack. So basically right now, I see Tapu Fini as a sniper. Like, you can either do damage to the bench, or you can choose one Pokemon, Lysander it in, or Guzma it in, and just completely get rid of it. So what other Pokemon do I consider to be a sniper? So as you guys see, I already have it up in the background. My boy Golduck does pretty much kind of the same damage as Tapu Fini, 120 for discarding 2 energy. So I'm thinking like these guys are going to be the greatest like combination. They're just going to be sniping everything left and right. It's going to be great. So right now, just so you guys know, I'm using Clamp Roll as my proxy. I actually tried to use this deck in a versus, and I did pretty decently. Obviously, Clamp Roll can't really attack, but I actually almost won the game. So, but I just wanted to test how the energy, how well I could get the energy onto the Clamp Roll in this case, and you know, Aqua Patch and all that stuff to get it back. So I mean, if you guys want to test this, instead of using Clamp Roll, there's a few other ideas you can use. You can use Ash Greninja. He has the same HP, similar energy cost. You might be able to try that out. But I think, or you can also, a lot of you might have Glaceon, similar, you know, attack cost, same HP. So that's another one. I guess the retreat cost might be different. So Glaceon has 2. So Ash Greninja might be slightly better. And then the other one was Glalie, who has like exactly, well, pretty much exactly the same attack cost, same HP, but 3 retreat cost. So those are some you might want to consider. Okay, so the way I see Tapu Fini is, let's bring her back up. The way I see Tapu Fini is you're going to want to use the attack, discard your 2 energy, and probably get her out of the active. So, of course, she has 1 retreat cost, but there's also that first attack that allows her to retreat for free. And, of course, as a water type user, you're going to have Manaphy available to you. So, if you have a Manaphy on the bench, you could just retreat the Tapu Fini and, you know, keep it from harm. So, ideally, in my mind, the way I see this deck working is you attack with Golduck. Golduck usually doesn't do enough damage. Let's say he has a choice band. Okay, he'll do 150, but that usually leaves something to be desired in terms of finishing off the Pokemon. So let's say your opponent retreats. That's when you retreat with Golduck, since Golduck retreats for free regardless of everything. And then you bring up your Tapu Fini. So, actually don't know if that's going to show up correctly, but that's fine. So, with the Tapu Fini, it'll come in after the Golduck, and it'll be able to finish off whatever retreated. And I know a lot of people are thinking this, like if there's any Shamans on the bench or anything like that with 120 HP or so, or less, you can snipe those from anywhere. But the way I'm thinking of it is you're going to have a Pokemon that's not going to do enough damage. Your opponent's going to want to retreat, and then you're going to come with the Tapu Fini and finish it off. It would be so much cooler if Tapu Fini could do the same as Golduck, where you choose how many energy to discard, and you do 60 for each. Unfortunately, that would probably be incredibly broken, so they did it so that it's 2 energy. I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem, especially since we have our... Let me make sure this is set up so you can see it. Since we have our Golduck Break, if you turn your head sideways, what he allows you to do is to transfer energy, so from one Pokemon to another. So in combination with Golduck, you can use Aqua Patch, get a water energy onto your bench, and then use Golduck to transfer it out to Tapu Fini, attach another energy for the turn for Tapu Fini, or use a Max Elixir for and transfer it to Tapu Fini. So you've got a few options to get energy back on Tapu Fini and be able to attack again. So you could potentially say, let's say you use Golduck, you do 120 or 150 damage, your opponent retreats, you bring up Tapu Fini the next turn, you finish sniping that Pokemon. Then the next turn, you Aqua Patch or you Max Elixir and you attach for turn. You Golduck Break to transfer the energy back, and you're ready for another shot. And if there's a Shaman or anything like that, that's an easy target for you to pick up. So in theory, that's a pretty cool idea, and I'd love to see that like in action. I'm looking forward to getting this card and trying it out and destroying people with it. So aside from the main attackers in this deck, of course, we're going to need some Tapu Leles to help us get set up. I have one Alolan Vulpix in the deck. It could be useful, but a card that could be even more useful is Brooklet Hill. Tapu Fini is a basic. You can use it to get Psyduck out. So it's actually... We actually have a bunch of ways to get Pokemon out. So this is like really working well right now. Aside from that, we have Manaphy for the free retreat. And so I actually have the two different Golducks here. I have this one on because, you know, Grandpa's pretty popular and he kind of does a similar attack. So I was just like, yeah, you know what? This might be useful. You don't necessarily have to use this guy, but it's an option if you want. He does have 100 HP, which is 10 more than the other Golduck. But he's got 1 retreat cost, and he only does a maximum of 70. 100 with a choice band, or 120 with Kukui and a choice band. So, yeah. And last but not least, when it comes to Pokemon, is Staryu. So, in addition to having the Aqua Patch, You can also use Starmie and Staryu. You can use Starmie's Space Beacon to recover 2 energy per turn. This is obviously a popular Pokemon to use with a Golduck deck, where you can just keep recovering those 2 energies that you're spending every turn, and you can just keep the wheels churning every turn. So I think that's a good set of Pokemon. Really, the only thing is that's a total of 18 Pokemon, so it's kind of a little bit on the high side. But so actually, this is my first version of this deck, and I'll show you 2 more when I'm done explaining all the things. So obviously, we're going to use Field Blower, just 1 Field Blower, because those are always good to have. Super Rod. You can use a Rescue Stretcher here, but I kind of prefer the Super Rod just in case you want to recycle energy as well. You can do that. We're using Ultra Balls. We're not using Dive Balls, partially because it's going to rotate out, but I mean, they're not rotating out yet, so we still have time. But Ultra Balls will help you discard water energy that you can Aqua Patch back on. So if you need to like help accelerating energy, you can do that. And of course, Sycamore would help you do that as well. But those are a little more costly because when you use them, you probably have more than just water energy in your hand. I'm only playing 3 versus Seeker. I actually had 2 before, and I've been using kind of 2 in the Golduck deck just because I feel like it's enough. But I actually just went with 3 this time because versus Seeker is a pretty good card. But just, I mean, that's another card that's going to rotate, so I'm trying to get used to not using them. But for the time being, we're going to use them just because it's not in our advantage. It's to our disadvantage to not have a set of them. So the last thing, it's not the last thing. I think I mentioned this before already. Brooklet Hill. You can get any basic water or fighting Pokemon. Not that we're using any fighting Pokemon, but let's say we had a Sudowoodo, we'd be able to get that. So Brooklet Hill, it seems like a lot of people are preferring it more than Rough Seas, just because being able to set up is just so much more helpful. Like let's say you have an Octillery, you can get the Remoraid, you can get the Staryu, you can get the Psyduck, you can get the Fini, you can, well, you can get the Lele, but you won't be able to use the ability, so... No, actually, no, what am I saying? You can't get the Lele because it's not water type. And you could also get the Vulpix, so it's actually pretty good. And just as another way of getting Pokemon out, we also have Bridget. So we have Tapu Lele for the Bridget. Pretty standard stuff nowadays. We got 1 Lysander. I'm not entirely sure about the Lysander, because I kind of just wanted to not have any, because you're going to be able to snipe the bench. But like I was saying before, if you want to use that GX attack, you're going to want to get something out that's on the bench that has a ton of energy and just send it back to the deck. And this is another card that's rotating out, so we're going to have Guzma in the future, which might just be just as good as having Lysander. In this deck in particular, since you have the Manaphy, you can either Guzma and retreat out, or you can retreat and then use Guzma. Whatever you need to do, whatever works. Okay, so then next we have 2N. Pretty self-explanatory. That's pretty much in every deck. We have 4 Sycamore, just like every other deck. We have 1 Wally. I've been kind of using Wally to just get to Golduck Break as fast as possible, just because Golduck Break is kind of what we want to do in this deck. So we're just going to have him, we're going to be Aqua Patching either onto Golduck or onto something else, and then transferring it to the active Pokemon. So that's a reason to have Wally, and since it's a supporter, you can get it back with Versus Seeker, just in case you need to use it with anything else. But we only have 2 evolvers in this deck, so it's not that important. Basically, the last 2 cards are Choice Band and Fighting Fury Belt. The reason I don't go straight with Choice Band is because Fighting Fury Belt would help a lot with the Manaphy. Like, that's To me, whenever I have a Manaphy, I want to protect that thing, because guess what? Manaphy is a target for Tapu Fini. So if you're going to be in a mirror match and your opponent's using a Tapu Fini, then your Manaphy is a liability. So you're going to want to have a Fighting Fury Belt on that boy. Choice Band is great because, you know, a lot of times Golduck doesn't do enough damage. So you might want to do 150 instead of 120 in some cases. I was also thinking about adding a Kukui to this deck. However, Kukui, Choice Band, and I'm pretty sure Fighting Fury Belt only affects the active Pokemon. So since we're going to be sniping with Tapu Fini, again, it's just like, I don't know how well it's going to work for us. So I'm not trying to put like a ton of them into the deck. That's pretty much the only line of thinking. So I said that I made 3 different versions of this deck, and here are the other 2. Basically, this one takes out the Vulpix and the Manaphy. So I feel like the Vulpix might be a little slow, so I just decided to take that out. And I took the Manaphy out because I said, like I said before, it's a bit of a liability. It's only got 120 HP, and it's worth 2 prizes. So I kind of tried to make this a like mostly 1 prize deck and then some 2 prizers. So that's kind of my thinking on that. And in this version of the deck, we added a 1 Choice Band and 1 Fighting Fury Belt just to kind of help Tapu Fini survive. Maybe the Fighting Fury Belt isn't really so necessary anymore since we don't have the Manaphy in this version. So you might consider something, maybe another Super Rod or something to get energy back, just in case you can't get the Starmie back. Because since you don't have the free retreat, you might be spending energy to retreat. The good thing about this version of the Manaphy isn't super necessary because everything retreats for 1 at most. So you're only going to be losing 1. Starmie is going to get you that back. The only thing you're losing is your attachment for the turn. So hopefully that works out with the Aqua Patches and the Max Elixirs, so that you don't really like lose your rhythm when it comes to having enough energy. Okay, so the rest of this deck is basically the same. So let's go to the 3rd version of the deck, which I think it's a little bit more distinct, even though it's not really. So we're still gonna have 2 Finis, obviously, and we're bringing back the Manaphy, but we're getting rid of the whole Starmie line, and we're getting rid of the Vulpix. So since Starmie is 4 cards total, it feels like a lot of cards to have at once. So what I did instead was I added 2 Energy Retrieval and a Professor's Letter. And wait, I think my math is off. No. So we were able to add 1 Choice Band and 1 Fighting Fury Belt in the last deck. I forgot what else I added to this. I don't know. Right now, I'm having trouble thinking. So yeah, basically the idea of this is to just have the Energy Retrieval, because you're not going to have Starmie. And it's just like a just in case, because we're hoping to just really use the Aqua Patch and let that do its work, so we don't have to worry about whatever's discarded. And yeah, it's kind of a given to me, but I didn't really say it. Like, Golduck is going to help you discard water energy so that you can Aqua Patch it back on. I used to run a deck. Actually, I could just bring it up. I used to run a deck with Ninetales and Golduck. Maybe I spelled it wrong. There we go. It's Ninetales and Golduck, which is pretty much the same idea. Different Pokemon, obviously. But since Ninetales' attack is pretty much the same energy cost as Tapu Fini, you're discarding 2 energy. So my idea is just to get the Golduck break on the bench, Aqua Patch, or however else you're gonna get your energy on to the bench, and then just hyper transfer it back to Ninetales so that you're ready to attack next turn. And I know you can just use double colorless, but it's kind of like another option if you just want to use water energy, if you want to make sure you hit your max elixirs. So this is what that deck looks like if you're interested. It looks pretty similar, so let's see. Okay, so definitely we have the Manaphy. This is back when I used Shaman, but I kind of don't really use Shaman anymore. And one Tapu. We have two Vulpix, which are kind of just built into the deck because we're using the Ninetales. We have two Lapras as the main attacker. And I guess I'm using this Golduck too as well, just to kind of get rid of any special energy. In terms of trainers, we're using Rough Seas here. 2 Ultra Ball, 2 Dive Ball, same Super Rod, 2 Field Blower instead of 1. Only 3 Max Elixir, because this is kind of like more of an evolution deck, even though we have the Lapras actually. So actually, it'd be fine to use 4 here. That's about it. The Bridget, I used the Fan Club instead of Bridget because I wanted to be able to get the Shaman or the Tapu Lele. And it's almost essentially the same deck. In fact, I think I copied this deck as the basis of the other deck, just because I kind of already had this going. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to the Tapu Fini just to see how it works. Hopefully, I'm going to the pre-release next week, so hopefully I'm able to pull one. If not, maybe I could trade for one, or if not, I'll just buy it online somewhere. As far as how many Tapu Fini in the deck you're gonna want, depends. Like, since we only have a max of 4 Aqua Patch, and Starmie can only do so much per turn, it might not work to have 4 in your deck, but I'd be interested to see how 4 works in one deck. It would be crazy, but it would be awesome to see. Anything else? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, there's the different ways of getting the energy back within like Super Rod and energy retrieval. So yeah, just kind of think about those things. And I look forward to see how this works, or any version of this, just to see how good Tapu Fini really is and how well it works with the other water types. Alright, I think I'll end it there. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to hit like or leave a comment if you have any other ideas, or if you think it's a good deck, think it's a bad deck. Go ahead and leave a dislike if you want. Feel free, like, I don't mind. And again, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.
I just hunt tail, ammo for 48 days. I got an artillery, that's weaponry 8 ways. Hate mate, that'll get your whole squad murked. And as for you, you'll be laying in a